I'm extremely glad to introduce my most favorite student, Dinoj Joseph, who actually underwent the GDC program. And he's going to show you the methodology he followed and, of course, what he learned in the GDC program and how it transformed his entrepreneurship journey. So welcome, Dinoj. Let me just quickly introduce you to Dinoj. Dinoj was our 2018 pass out Master of Design student from the Industrial Design School here at IIT Bombay. He then, after his graduation, one of his projects which he worked on, he wanted to continue that project as an entrepreneurship. He went on and joined the Betic Center at IIT Bombay. We're going to have the lecture from Betic Center in a couple of weeks, and then there was no looking back for Dinoj. And I don't want to spill the beans here. Dinoj, you're welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to us. Let us hear your story.
So thank you very much, Chakku sir. And it was always a pleasure being a student of yours. And we have actually learned, the idea of product development and entrepreneurship, everything from IDC, IIT Bombay. So here I want to explain you about how my life transformed. I would say life here, because it is not just an entrepreneurship journey. It's about the transformation, what happens from a student to an entrepreneur. So this is what I want to explain through this program, and how GDC I-Incubate program helped a crucial role in transforming. So as you all know, GDC I-Incubate is a program which is really focused on entrepreneurship, especially in the need identification. So need identification is one of the key element in the journey of entrepreneurship. Because in IDC we have learned product development and we have worked on a lot of projects. So the project known as a portable operation room for conducting surgeries in remote and low resource settings was my master's project. And I had a design in my mind and I have made it during my course. But I was not sure who is going to be the real customer, or the customer identification part was not perfectly done.
But I remember, Dinoj, you traveled all the way and you did very good user survey for sure, when you designed your product.
Yeah. So even if I had conducted a lot of travels and met a lot of people, but they were not in a structured way. So I was getting a lot of information, but I was not really getting an insight how I should rearrange to assimilate data and how I should take decision points to refine my product. I was mostly concerned with my idea, and there was more me in that rather than you, or the you here, I mean the user. And that is what the transformation happened to me. And I feel this should happen to each one of us who is into entrepreneurship or into product development. So we had a beautiful team comprising of mentors from various expertise. And as I mentioned earlier, I was working with Betic at that time. And Betic has really helped me to understand the clinical immersion part. And we had a 4-member team, and we joined I-Incubate program with this idea, what I discussed before. So the basic idea or the concept was a sterile enclosure for conducting surgical procedure. And there were certain assumptions what we had while entering into the program. I thought, here I would say because that is what, as a designer, we generally think. So here I thought the rural surgeons are going to love our product, are going to use our product. Then again, I thought the surgical infections are majorly causing, and this is happening. This is leading to a lot of issues. Then for this, what I felt is the solution is going to be only what I have discussed, and there should be some quickly deployable solution which should cater to all these problems. These are the assumptions from which we started. But the GDC team insisted us to validate each of these hypotheses. And that was not just by Google research. It was by going and meeting persons in face-to-face, asking them questions, having a chai with them, spending enough amount of time, understanding their feelings, understanding their personas, and really deep diving into their life and to understand what are their concerns. That was something very important. So we have traveled all across the country and met more than 100 customers. And we visited more than 10 states. We met people the patients from the poorest of the poorest places in the country to the richest of the richest places in the country. We met ministry level people, we met government officials, we met college professors, we met the hospital cleaning staff, we met the doctors, we met the nurses, and a lot more. And what we found is like, even as in something specific, initially our hypothesis was the rural surgeons are going to love our product, and that was true, they love the product. But the issue is like, there are other set of issues like financial, there are other stakeholders like decision makers, so we were not at all approaching those people, or we are not focusing on those people. So it is not just one customer for a product what we have, it is all bunch of stakeholders like decision maker, the one who is going to invest on the product, the one who is going to get benefit out of the product, one who is going to use the product. And again, there is someone who will be always looking to stop our business. It can come in all forms. So we should be aware about all the things what we'll found in the ground reality, and we should have plan and strategies built up accordingly. So this was one of the key learnings we got from the methodology what we followed, which was mentioned, which was taught in the GDCI Incubate program. So as I told, from this solution, how we transformed is like, we got, there was an eye-opening interview, which I will be explaining later, that we got an understanding like, it is not just for surgeries what we really need, but there is another huge segment known as burns. Why? Because generally for the surgery, it is just a half an hour or 1 hour thing what we are looking at. And the cost for the product compared to the benefit they get. And there is a huge difference. And generally in low resource setting, they are already short of financial things, and they are not really capable of affording it in a developing country like India. But if you see the burns market, actually it is not a 1 hour thing. It is more than 40 days treatment what the patients need. So if a patient can afford a 5,000 rupee enclosure, they can use it constantly for the coming 40 days, which will be adding more value to their life. And if you see the current market size, there are more than 7 lakh people who need the treatment, and currently 1,400 facilities are available. So that is a kind of market, or the scale of market what we really have in front of us. So being told this, I just want to show you the in-depth process, or what we followed. So whatever interviews we conducted, we have to the mentors were forcing us to type everything down, record the videos, record the audio. It was very difficult for us in the short span of time, but somehow we managed to do that, and the results were amazing. So you can see how much amount of information actually we got. Among this, whatever I have highlighted are like the very good insights which led to the pivoting of the idea itself. So you can see earlier we had told like, the surgeons are going to love the product. They love the product, they identify the need, everything is true. But there is a huge part of finance what should go into it, right? Then from this, we actually got a idea like, there are other markets and what we can cater to. Then here I have highlighted something related to the defense. So during the course of our work, we met the 69 Para Regiment in Agra, and we spoke to them. So we understood like, still they are using the Second World War vintage OTs for conducting surgeries. And it was like a very sad thing, like, the Indian defense still not really having enough products for conducting this kind of, surgeries in a very safe and sterile way. So we told them like, we have such a solution, and will this going to be any sort of help for you? Then they agreed like, this sounds promising, and currently we are having discussions, and we are gonna parallelly develop a product for them. But again, there is an issue is that the kind of product volumes what they need is low. So as a startup, you cannot sustain like that. Even if you have got a dream project, but sometimes you have to focus on other projects what will generate revenue for your startup. Then you can focus on the dream project, or the project what you really need. So right now you can assume like, we have shelved the operation room project, and we are focusing more on burns, because both of them has got equal need, and a patient is a patient. You cannot say like, only the customer segment is large, then only we should treat them. It's never like that. But as a startup, there is a different strategy what I feel like we should do it right now.
In fact, it's so nice. It's music to my ears when I hear all these aspects of business coming in, because that's the core, right? Entrepreneurs have to make money, and they have to actually, sell a large number of products to make both ends meet, and and make the company, successful and prosperous. That is really, really excellent, of how you could, change from, In fact, you also rightly said that you're not going to shelf it. You may just, once you have your main product, you may have this as a secondary product. That's also a fabulous way of putting things together. Very good. Now let us see your how you progress from here on to build up your like the next product.
Yeah. So here, before going to that, I will tell you something like this product, the portable operation room. I was so confident like this product is awesome. Even we had a patent. No one in the world has ever done that. And so I was like, so I was so overconfident like I am going to get the funding for it. And I applied for a BAG program, and I was not able to get any funding for it because the need identification, who is the customer, who you are going to target, that was not clear. With just a technology or with just a beautiful design, it is impossible to get into the market. That was a great revelation what I really got. So with this thing in mind, understanding my own failures, even if I believe I failed in a reputed way, but still I failed. A failure is a failure. We have to accept that. And from this, we got our second version of the product, which essentially we pivoted back in the GDC Identifier program. And that was an affordable isolation room for burns treatment. In burns treatment, currently, if you see, the expenses are so high. If you see the daily room rent, that is coming more than 7,000 rupees per day, which you can imagine, like, who really can afford that much? And 90% of burns are happening in very low resource settings, or 70% of the burns are again happening to women and children. So it is more like a social economic thing rather than just a accident or an injury. And if you want to understand the real number of burn patients, in every hour, 16 people are dying due to burn injury. So that is the kind of statistics we have. Yeah. And the pictures you see, these images, we actually the situations in the current hospitals are somewhat similar. And then we went and did the user research to understand what is the real gold standard for treating in burns. And we came to know, like, it is all about treating them in a perfect isolation room with following proper protocol. But most of the times we are unable to do it because of its sheer expense. Then we again did one more GDC program personally, because I really learned what they taught me. And this is not a one-time thing. That is what I want to say. Each time you are going to launch a project, each time you are going to think about a product, before sketching the product, you should do the need identification part. That is very important. And need identification, it is not just the secondary research. It is the raw data what you should get right from the mouth of the customer. That is very important. Don't assume. We shouldn't assume. The assumptions are just assumptions. It will lead you nowhere. You should have solid, concrete evidence, and always you should ask the customer, like, are you willing to buy the product? Don't ask them like, does the product look good? You should always ask, are you willing to buy the product? And if, for how much? That is some very important questions you should answer, because once you have a startup, once you have your own funding, then you have to feed your own bills, right? Now, in that case, these questions become very important. And it's very important to understand who are the stakeholders in the customer. For example, for my product, doctor is going to use the product majorly. They are going to be the decision maker, whether this product is a go or no go. But the hospital is going to be the buyer, or they are going to invest on the product. Then for hospital, they will be looking for something like a compact unit so that they can accommodate more number of patients, where they can generate more revenue. For the patients, it's all about faster recovery with less financial burden. It's always less financial burden than recovery, I would say. Yeah. So we have to cater to all these stakeholders, or else our product is going to fail. Then what we are planning to make is something which can convert just a hospital bed onto an isolation room. So what you see in the image is a computer-generated image, which shows the concept what we are looking at. And we again have the IP protection and everything. So for each customer stakeholder, each stakeholder who we have addressed, we should have a unique value proposition for them. That is very important. It has to be really unique. It should never be generic, and it has to be quantified. That is equally important. We cannot say like it is going to improve. If it is going to improve, then at what percentage? If they can treat more number of patients, then how many number of patients they can treat in a day compared to the existing system? Such quantification is again very important. Again, earlier we conducted 101 interview. Now we conducted more than 140 interviews. So that is a kind of hard work and effort we should put in to make our design a reality, or to make our products hit the market. And it's equally important to have the positive feedbacks as well as the negative feedbacks, because often the negative feedbacks will really help us to refine the product and to develop into something better. Then we should always look for the competitor products. What all are the things which are good in the competitor product and what are the drawbacks in the competitor product. No product in the world can be perfect, even the product what we are designing. But we should find a market gap such that the pursued benefits are better or more than the risks what is associated with the product, or the difficulties what is associated with the product. And it's very important, accordingly you have to position the product. And it's something very critical as a startup. You should have a robust business model, and even if it is partially clear, you should start building the business model. You should start identifying the customers at a very early stage, and always what are your potential, what are your capability, what are your weaknesses. This is very important. And most importantly, how much is the minimum number of units you have to sell just for you to sustain. If you cannot meet that number, then you are dead. The company is no more. It's impossible. And never push everything, all the products to some NGOs or to some government sectors, because generally the selling to government or government comes secondary. More important, you should initially focus on the areas where there is money for us to sustain. So this is some of my personal observations or my personal learnings from the interviews. It may be applicable for everyone or it may not be applicable for everyone. Then it's important to have a long-term vision, because if you are doing a product development right now in 2001, you may be doing the clinical trials in 2023 or in 24 and 25 you will be selling the product. So our products need to be futuristic. You need to understand what all materials, what all manufacturing process, which all kind of expertise in the domain are going to be there at that time, and what is the potential market changes and all those. And again, the team can change, but the passion remains the same. So that is what I want to explain from my experience, and I hope this will be helpful. Thank you.
So that's perfect, Dinoj. I think you really summed it up very nicely. All the advantages of evidence-based entrepreneurship, and what is very heartening to learn from you is also the iterative process. On your own, when you went back, I think the GDC program was so well ingrained in your mind that you used it again extensively and came up with this success story. We wish you really, really all the best, and any support from all of us, we're all there, and wish you all the best. And I'm sure you would your product will really, really do well with this type of evidence. Thank you so much, Dinoj, and we look forward to be in touch with you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, and thank you GDC team for giving me such an experience and transforming me from a student to an entrepreneur. Thank you very much.